Shardul here from Index Ventures. Really happy to have this conversation with Kyle Mathews, the founder of Gatsby.
Hey Shardul, great to be here. Really looking forward to the conversation.
When you're building your first product and you had this feeling that there was something wrong, that visceral reaction is what I think has been so deep and common amongst developers that Gatsby's actually brought joy to. So maybe kind of go back to that moment. Like what actually felt wrong to you?
The expectations on websites had gone up dramatically. So, like with smartphones and native apps and just like the huge web app properties too that invested like millions and millions of dollars, are investing millions and millions of dollars into kind of the user experience. It's like the disparity between a 2005 website and a 2015 website was quite large, even like just the median website. And so anyways, like if you want to like in a competitive environment like the web, you want to stand out, you have to have something that's really good. So yeah, so I guess it was just like easy for me to think about what I wanted and see all sorts of gaps with existing tools. And then, I just thought of like what would be kind of the tool that I want. And then, that's just where Gatsby came from. Is like, okay, how do I want to develop stuff in general and specifically around the web, and like how do I bring all those pieces together into one package so that it kind of it's really straightforward to do stuff.
One of the pieces of the Gatsby story that's amazed me is your sense of how you've brought the sense of belonging into the culture of your community, right? And it's clear from kind of the emotions you feel and express when you talk to like the first people who use Gatsby, and even when I've seen you at conferences and meeting folks who come up to you with questions, like you really care about the community. But maybe talk more about like where that comes from. This notion of like belonging, where does it come from, and how is it important to you in your community?
There's a strong focus on creating a close-knit community where everyone can come and participate and contribute in however fashion that they like. So from the start, with Gatsby, that was just very intuitive, very natural for me to kind of push for that kind of community. And I think it's like, communities, companies, all sorts of stuff, they kind of take on characteristics of the founders, because it's like early people that join are those who want that same sort of stuff. They see what the founders doing, they want that, and then that just sort of snowballs and grows.
It's been amazing for me to witness the quality of talent, like the diversity and inclusion that you've brought into Gatsby. How have you put together kind of the team and the group that you have? Like what have been your first principles?
Doing something really ambitious is attractive to the right type of people. Startups are hard. Like startups, you're trying to do something that's never been done before. That's audacious, that's risky, that's scary oftentimes. That's gonna get you have a very outsized public presence because like a lot of people are watching you. It's like not a typical job, and and for startups to work, you need to attract people who are going to thrive in that environment. So just being ambitious, being having like a big vision, a big goal, attracts like a lot of people. Yeah, and then just our approach towards community, and that we're building open source tools, and we're helping a lot of people to like learn how to develop for the web, and to create things and empower them, and to help them like create careers and so forth. That's a lot of people love that part of our mission as well, because I think it's very natural for most humans to want to like help other people. Like you're like, I want to be involved with something big, I want to help other people, I want to work on hard, important problems. And that's what we're doing at Gatsby, is like working on some of the most important, most difficult challenges out there.
Can you give us an example of a specific customer at scale, right, that is using Gatsby?
Yeah, it's been really great to see all the different people adopting Gatsby. The community's growing really quickly, like 10% month over month. A great case study we published was on Impossible Foods. So they're like a meat substitute company, which, they signed a huge deal with Burger King last year, just like seeing really explosive growth. And kind of last year when that was all starting, they were really struggling with their web presence, and it's just like they weren't able to like ship new features, and like the site was slow, and they were really bottlenecked getting any changes done because they have like one internal person and like an agency, and it's just really hard to do anything. And that was like starting to like seriously impact their business. And then they decided to switch to Gatsby and then rebuilt everything on that, and they've been super happy.
We're the fastest growing web framework on the planet, and it feels like we're just getting started. Incremental builds is an unbelievable technical accomplishment. Talk about it.
Yes, incremental builds. It's kind of like the holy grail for static sites. Like so a little historical context. Like there's been basically from the beginning of the web until now like two ways to build websites. Kind of the big goal with setting out with Gatsby is to do something that's called incremental builds, which gives you the advantages of both. It's like really fast to update the site, like with database-driven sites, but like sites are very easy to host. They're very scalable, like static sites, and so that's what we've done with incremental builds. Is that with Gatsby and one of the supported kind of data providers, like you can make a change in a CMS or Airtable or something, and that change will go live in under 10 seconds, and that's like a huge improvement. It's kind of like a third way to build websites that's never been seen before.
What's next for Gatsby?
At a high level, what we're trying to do is kind of build like the WordPress of the cloud era, where you can like have the development, have a development environment, have your CMS, and then Gatsby kind of glues everything together and makes it straightforward to manage and to evolve as time goes on. And so a lot of our focus is just making builds faster, improving integrations, and making it ever easier for people to kind of get started with Gatsby and to build cool stuff.
Thanks a lot, Kyle, for joining us today. That was great. Stay safe and be well, my friend.
Thanks. My pleasure.